I'm sorry we missed that amazing story, but I just kind of want to sum up here. Hi, Jane. You're so gorgeous. Thank you for showing me your
It's
beautiful face.
mine says recording and it says 6 minutes.
Okay, fantastic. Well, good. I think it was recording from the beginning, a transcript. So I've got my new
Okay,
Otter transcript thing here. So I want to start like sending out a
cool.
newsletter that has, you know, summation of what we're doing here, but I also want to have the video. So hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm so happy to see you all. Let's take a moment and just arrive right here in this moment. Shake off anything that does not need to be here in this space. So Frankie just told this beautiful story, and Jane just told this beautiful story about reinventing ourselves in the moment, coming into each moment fresh, and recognizing that we can time jump. We can jump through a portal. We can go back into the past and change past events, past behavior, and come into this new reality where this new parallel track of this new person exists. And we've been playing with this a little bit during this eclipse season, playing with portals, playing with time. And this full moon in Libra is kind of a big deal in terms of that ability of ours. So we have some juicy, juicy stuff that we're coming into. I'm going to start with Mercury went direct on Monday. So we know that Mercury is a bit of a trickster. When Mercury is in retrograde, we tend to have a lot of snafus, mess ups, things don't go as expected. But this Mercury direct is also in the sign of Pisces, and Pisces is a little bit of a trickster energy. And so the fact that it's going direct in a trickster energy kind of tells us that there's going to be happy accidents, I want to say. You know, like Bob Ross, he always loves his little happy accidents, right? It's like nothing is a mistake. It's just a happy accident. That's the energy that we're coming into this week with. That anything that happens, whether at the time you think of it as a good thing or a bad thing, it's meant to be, it's fated. This is a fated week. And so you may notice that there's a lot of little synchronicities and weird things popping up that are like, oh, I didn't expect that, but amazing. And run-ins, you know, meeting up with people, having conversations that are consequential this week. And so any conversation that you have, again, just be really aware of the energy that you're showing up with. Because whatever that conversation feels like at the time, this is setting a long-term, setting something in motion. Okay. We're planting seeds that are going to come to fruition later at a later time. Okay. I wanted to tell this story about, so for those who don't know, last week I was in Hawaii, on Kauai, and it was amazing. And this was an experience that I never thought that I would be able to have. Like, I could never afford to stay where I stayed on my own. Like, there's just no way. My friend and client, she's become a friend, but she's a client who I am helping to write her memoir. She had sepsis and she lost a lot of, you know, she lost her lower limbs and many of her fingers. And so this whole story happened in this place in Hanalei on Kauai. And she wanted me, because I'm helping her to write this story, I'm helping her to, you know, ghostwrite it, but also to edit what she's written. She wanted me to actually be there and experience this place. And so when I was in this house and I'm looking out at the view, I had this moment. It was almost very like disorienting, where I suddenly remembered I manifested this. I manifested this. Like I had a picture in my, you know, collection of pictures that looked almost exactly like what I'm looking at right now. How insane is that? And this was like 4 years ago that I did this. And I remembered in that moment that what we are looking at in the world, it's like when we look at the stars, right? We think we're looking at the night sky today, but we're actually looking into the past. We're looking way into the past. And the same is true of our reality. we look around and we think we're looking at reality as it is right now. No, we're looking at the reality that we created with our manifestations before. We manifested this reality before. And so what we're looking at as is the world as we wanted it to be a few years ago. And that just blew my mind. I was like, okay. So, but that reminds me that like, what do I want the world to be like in 4 years, in 5 years, right? What do I want the world around me to be like? And that's what I need to be manifesting now. That's where I need to be putting my focus right now. And so this is a really important reminder because as we come into, especially we had those eclipses. We're going to have another set of eclipses in September. And so what we started to brew in those eclipses is going to kind of come ripe in September. So really focusing on what is this energy that we're putting onto the North Node? The North Node is in Pisces. And so we're still in the energy of Pisces. Mercury just went direct in Pisces. And then on Saturday, guess what also goes direct in Pisces? At the same time that we have a full moon, Venus. Venus is our love energy. It's our relationship energy. It's our pleasure center. And so it's going direct in the sign that it's in the North Node. The North Node, just to remind folks, the North Node is all about our sense of self. It's our North Star. It's our destiny. It's our identity. It is like our purpose, our meaning, where we are headed in life. So again, that's all, there's all this faded energy coming up right now. So it doesn't surprise me at all that I ended up in this place that was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how I ended up here, but this is amazing. I totally manifested this just to remind me of like how freaking magical life is. At the same time, we've got some pretty intense astrology coming up. I'm going to tell you about it in a minute, but I'm reminded of it because every day when I was in Hawaii, every morning I would wake up and cry for about 5 minutes, like racked with sobs. And it was nothing that I could like, I'm in the most amazing place in the world. Like nothing's going wrong. Everything's going great. Why am I like ugly crying every morning? And I realized I was processing the trauma that I was here to write about. I showed up in this place to write about this incredibly painful experience that this woman went through. And so I was actually like putting myself empathically into that experience and processing it emotionally. And I was like, wow, what a cool thing that I have the ability to do that. It didn't ruin my time at all. It was like I had this beautiful, moment of like crying, and then it was done. And then I went on with my day. I didn't have to like interrogate it or be like, what's wrong with me? Am I depressed? No, it was just part of the process. And that's kind of the energy that we're coming into in this full moon. There may be some hard hitting emotional energy for reasons that I will get into. But you don't need to let it throw you. Okay. It's taking you to exactly where we need to be. We also have right now, we have Venus and Saturn conjunct in Pisces. All right. Now, Saturn is all about structure, it's about routine, and Venus is about pleasure. And so this is about bringing pleasure into our routines, finding the joy, finding the pleasure, finding the love that we are showing ourselves by having these habits and routines that lift us up, lift us higher, and level us up in our lives. This is about commitment, okay? It's about dedication. The word of the year for me is devotion. And that's really what this is. It's devotional practice. So this conjunction, it's about committing to the ideals that Libra are really all about as we come into this full moon in Libra, because Venus rules Libra, of course. And so we have this commitment to justice, a commitment to peace, a commitment to equity, equality, and a commitment to creativity, a commitment to creation and manifestation, a commitment to clarity. As we have Mercury going direct this week as well, we have this beautiful clarity coming in around what our relationships with ourselves and with the others around us, what we want that to be, what we want that to look like, what we think that should look like, our ideals in the area of partnership. We also have Juno moving into the sign of Scorpio next week. Scorpio is a really intense energy, and Juno is about partnership. So again, we're getting this intense intimacy and clarity, crystal clarity around what we want our intimacy to look like. That trickster energy is also bringing us more into the space of vulnerability. Okay. And intimacy requires vulnerability. It requires us to show up and say, hi, this is me as I am, authentically, openly. I screw things up sometimes, and things aren't always perfect here. And that creates the intimacy that we are seeking with ourselves and with others. When we get into a space of perfectionism, we are denying ourselves intimacy with ourselves. We are denying ourselves that fundamental thing that we seek with everyone, which is the love, right? We deny ourselves self-love when we get into a space of, no, but it has to be perfect. It has to be like this. It has to be like that. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. It has to be authentic, is what it has to be. You can try and get away from it, but in the end, it has to be authentic. The only thing it has to be, but it has to be. We'll be getting into that a little bit more in a bit because we've got an exercise for that today. But I want to move on to this beautiful full moon in Libra. Again, Venus is going direct. Venus rules Libra. And so the fact that this is happening on the same day is pretty pivotal. Our love energy has been retrograde at a very, very powerful time during this eclipse season. And now it's moving direct on the full moon in Libra. That's kind of crazy. So this is big, big love energy, polarity energy, justice energy. And at the same time, guess what's happening? We have the Sun and Chiron conjunct and Cazimi. So Cazimi is when it is the furthest or the closest. And so this one happens to be the closest. And so Chiron's coming the closest that it ever comes to the sun, and it is conjunct. And so Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron is about healing trauma. And so this could stir up some memories. It could stir up some pain. It could stir up it can, poke some tender places. But it's showing us where the love is needed. So have you ever just done like a body scan, right? You take a moment, you breathe in, and you just notice where you're feeling tension, right? Because we can't relax what we're not aware of. And so this is exactly what this is doing for us. It's showing us the places that we can relax now. I actually had this really interesting experience the other day of my sister, Spike, had made me a beautiful, what's it called? Amulet. Okay. Neither she nor I could remember what it was for. I've been wearing it, since she made it, but like, I don't remember what it was for. But we both had this feeling at the same time that I didn't need it anymore. Whatever it was that we had made it for, it has served its purpose and it can be retired. So we opened it up, we took it apart, we looked at all the stuff that was in there, right? And we were like, oh, that's what that was for. But it was like this beautiful moment of, okay, I've healed that. I've moved on from that. I don't need that anymore. And that's exactly what we're going to be discovering right now. Is we'll have some things re-triggered only to notice that it doesn't hurt the way it used to hurt. It doesn't bother us the way it used to bother us. So we'll have that knee-jerk reaction of like, oh no, oh no, oh no, the bad thing's about to happen. But I want you to stay open to the possibility that actually this is just being shown to you to say, no, you're good. You're good. You don't need that pain anymore. You don't need that. We've healed that. Or it's time to heal that. And now we have the ability to heal that. Maybe we've tried to heal it before and it didn't work. And now it's saying, you can heal it now. It's the time. So anything that comes up this weekend specifically, I want you to really hold lightly in terms of like, is this something that I really need to like process and go into? Or is it something that I can just notice that I'm done with? All right. We also have Mars in Cancer, which is all about our feels, right? Mars is that warrior and it's fighting for our feelings. It is square the sun and moon. Now, oppositions and squares mean conflict. That means discord. Okay. When we have trines and we have sextiles, that means harmonious energy. The flow is being amplified. When we have squares and oppositions, that means it's going to be a little bit crunchy, but it's also an opportunity, again, to notice and heal these things. And so it's opposite that Chiron Cazimi, Mars in Cancer. And so again, those feelings that we're feeling may actually just be showing us, like from a new perspective, oh, look at that feeling that you used to have and you don't anymore. It's different now. We're in a whole new era. But sometimes we have to notice what's missing, or we have to notice what's here now to appreciate it. If we never notice it, it's like, who cares if that changed, right? Because we never noticed. So this is our moment to notice. This is our moment to notice what's different. What has changed since that portal that we went through, since the work that we've been doing, since the manifestations that we've been doing? What has changed? What is different? We're going to start to notice. Clarity is kindness. Clarity is magic. And so I want us to take a moment now. We're going to do a little bit of clarity work around our commitments. Around our commitments. Now I'm going to give you a couple of options. You can do this in terms of a partnership, because again, there's big partnership energy in this moment. You can do it in terms of a partnership and kind of look at what is, getting clarity around what is my ideal partnership. What do I have that looks like that now that I can appreciate and be grateful for, that maybe I didn't always have, and it's different now? And where's still those sticky points where I want to change the way I come into this relationship and make a commitment to making a change. So we're celebrating and we're iterating. What can we celebrate? What can we iterate? Yeah. You can do it in terms of a partnership, or you can do it in terms of your creative process. So this is, what am I committing to? What am I celebrating? What am I iterating? And then we're going to talk about making a commitment to continuing in that path, continuing that vein. So whichever you choose, it's fine. You can actually go back and forth. But I want you to pick, am I focusing on a partnership, or am I focusing on my partnership with myself in my creative process, in my devotional practice? Are there any questions? I know that was a lot. Any questions on that before we start? All right, so I recommend 2 columns. I'll show you this in a moment. 2 columns, celebrate, iterate. Pretty simple. All right, let's get a move on. And then we will come back together in about 10 minutes and talk about this and talk about commitments, devotion. All right, my darlings, let's do it.
I should be working and doing things, and I should be earning money right now on X thing, but it's like, okay, whatever, it's goo phase. I'm just gonna let it go.
Yeah.
That conversation does not feed me, so I'm gonna let it go.
Just realized I wasn't recording. Dang it. Missed a lot of that. It's awesome stuff. I want to say for the record a couple of things that came up, like having fearless conversations around money. Such an important thing to iterate for us. Um, there's so much great stuff that's been happening. Jane, did you want to come out and celebrate a little bit? Some stuff that's been happening for you that you're like, ooh, I like that. Either,
Yeah.
yeah,
Can you hear me? Okay.
yes, I can.
So man, so much has been happening truly at record speed. I left grad school and because I realized that I was in a master's program for social work, and I realized that in this program, completing it would not allow me to heal people the way that I knew that they needed to be healed. So I left. And with that went the, kind of evaporation of the plan and the funds and all the things. But somehow I'm okay. And I've let that be okay. And I am absolutely manifesting enough to support myself and my daughter, not like I'm used to, where I squirrel away and there's a 5-year plan and all the things and I have it all written down. No, 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 no. This is seat of my pants. Okay, you don't need to see the whole path in front of you. All you need to see or have illuminated is like the little bit right in front of your feet. And I've made peace with that. And it's working, which blows my freaking mind. Okay, so that is a huge celebration. But honestly,
Hold on,
that
I want to
feels,
say, so that's amazing. I call that the headlights. Okay. So it's
okay.
just focusing on what can we see in our headlights, right? We don't
Yeah.
need to know what's around that next corner. What can we see in our headlights? Keep going. Keep going.
So, in comparison to that, which I know finances, and because I'm a single parent, and keeping the
Mhm.
lights on and doing all the things, should be the blinding thing, but it's not. So the real things that are, they feel like the mountain that was moved are, I'm celebrating the fact that I am freaking magic. I always have been,
Hell yeah.
but I didn't know it before. I was just kind of belly crawling through in the mud with all of this untapped potential and beauty, this wellspring, but I didn't know it. It was there. So that's first and foremost. I am freaking magic. Okay.
Yes. Own it.
And so that feels big. It is big. And another thing, my guides, who I only just met, but I'm
Mhm.
I'm throwing down with them on the regular now. They were always here as well, but that's a big celebration because I always felt alone. I was just
Yes.
trying and trying and trying, never having and having and having or doing. And it was very much that, keep the list and this is what's wrong. And I focused, my eyes were in the wrong place. But now I look up and catch my breath. Not only am I freaking magic with untapped potential, and it is a wellspring of never ending, potential. Then I'm looking around and I got these awesome guides that told me which direction they're in. And they're helping me with stupid stuff like, I need to get these damn dishes done. It is gross and I can't move. They're helping me with mundane. And like that is beyond my wildest dreams. So the esoteric and just the day-to-day shuffle. That is huge. Also, I've manifested my own like in real person in real life that I can see people like this group is one of those such things. I have a mentor now who is a shamanic practitioner,
I
and
love it.
we talk all the time. We have the same birthday, and it's
Oh,
a long story, but like I reached out to her after going on 30 years, and I finally found her, and this just happened, and it has been, because it's hard to live in the world where your head believes in all these things that are kind of intangible when you don't have the string to hold you to earth. It's like a kite. Okay,
yeah.
it's hard to
Yeah.
only be the kite. We need the string that grounds us. So
Yes.
these real people that have synchronistic beliefs and are at the same time cheering me on and affirming what is happening, it keeps me grounded. And I
Yeah.
absolutely have manifested that. So
Beautiful.
the hard part is over for me. You're talking about Chiron and all. Yeah, man, I put my dues in. I paid
Mhm.
them. Now is when I get to sit back and watch the unfolding, be a
Yes.
part of the becoming.
Yes.
To,
It
to
gets to
take
be good.
Yes,
Gets
I
to
get to put my
blossom.
brick in the hallowed sanctum that is this life,
Absolutely.
that is this embodiment of what I'm doing here and why.
I love it.
So, yeah, I have more to celebrate, but I'm going to let somebody else talk.
Gorgeous, Jane. Thank you so much.
Thank
Jesse,
you.
did you want to come off and off mute and celebrate?
Sure. So I focused on my partnership, and the first thing I wrote down to celebrate was that we've made it this far. Like
Right?
we've made it this far, 26 years. We've made it this far. And I certainly like celebrate the home that we've made. Sorry, that's my dog. The children that we have, our family, our wacky animals. I feel like overall, we've mostly had a really beautiful, positive energy. I feel like the last 2 years, it's like been waning a little bit. And one of the, big issues that we have is just communication. Like,
Mhm.
um, I have to let my dog out. Sorry, it's also raining,
Well,
so.
beautiful segue into our iterate list, right?
Yeah, so exactly. So communicating and just like doing better at making each other like a priority. Like our kids have always, since they've been born, have always been a priority. Like we never figured out how to do the marriage priority first, kids second. Like we never figured that out. We still
Yeah.
haven't. And it's a little bit easier now that they're older, but even like if we're trying like, okay, well, let's make sure we go out on a date or whatever, like we're either tired or it's like every date's the same, it's like just like,
Yes.
okay, we're at the same Mexican restaurant we always go to or whatever. You know what I mean? There's nothing like
Yep.
lighting us up.
Lighting the spark. Yes.
Yeah. So, that's something I want to like work on is just trying to, kind of do some other things. And when Frankie was talking about the pizza, like we went on this vacation over spring break where like for the first couple days, I just felt like everybody was having fun but me because like I was still bogged down and like I did all the packing and I handled all the passports and I handled
Right.
this and that and like I was the go-to
Yes.
person. I organized the trip. I was the point person and I'm like I'm not partially deaf. I'm completely deaf in my left ear. So sometimes when I'm in a crowded environment and somebody is talking to me to give me directions and I'm first in line, like I have no idea what they're saying. I cannot
Yeah.
hear them. And finally, and everyone's like looking at me and finally I just turned to Steve and I'm like, I cannot hear her. Like you need to take charge. Like I cannot do this because it gets
Yeah.
me, I get anxiety about it. It's not good.
Hmm.
So then I just started thinking about like, oh my gosh, everyone's so selfish. Like, not me, of course. I'm
Of
not.
course.
Everybody else is.
But can
So
we celebrate for a moment the fact that you needed help and you asked for the help that you needed?
yeah, but I was bitter about it. And I pissed off for 2 days afterwards. So, like just trying to change my point of view,
Yes.
right? Like
Okay, beautiful.
Frankie was talking about, like just changing my kind of point of view. Like these are the old things that I have felt like, you know, and the worst part is I feel like I make up stories about him and his feelings. And like
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, well, you blah 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 blah. He's like, that's you don't understand me. Like that's not me at all. Like that's not what I'm thinking at all. And like I just make
Yes.
up like these things that are not true about him, and then that just and like somehow it makes me mad. So I have how do I
Okay,
explain
so
this? Like
I
over
have
the
a
last, sorry, I just have to get this
go
out.
ahead. Yes,
Like
yes, yes,
over
yes.
the last like few months, or even years, I've been like him, but like now I finally really actually need to be like, hey, you have a role in this too. And like I need to look at me, And it's kind of taking me a little while to figure that out, but I think I figured it out today. So
Beautiful. Well, I have actually a great tool that I want to offer you. This is actually from Brené Brown, and it's one of my very favorites, which is simply to say, the story I'm telling myself right now is. So in a conversation, when you're having a conversation with your husband and you are telling yourself like he's thinking this, he's like, this is what's going on, just stop yourself and say to him, hey, so the story I'm telling myself right now is that you don't care that I've taken on all the work of this trip and that I'm deaf in one ear and like overwhelmed with anxiety right now. Because you're selfish or like whatever, whatever the story is that you're like playing in your mind, just say it so that he has a chance to be like, oh, no, 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 that's not what's going on at all. And has an opportunity to clear up. Again, clarity is kindness, right? Clarity is kindness. Give other people the opportunity to be clear with us as well. So this is a beautiful segue into our next step, which is to look at these things that we are celebrating and iterating and find ways that we can integrate them into our daily lives. So for example, I'll give you a few examples here. Like that's an example that I just gave you. So the next time that you think something's going on with your partner, just say, hey, the story I'm telling myself is, and give them an opportunity to tell you what they think is the real story going on in their head right now, or their intentions. Another one is that, so for example, I've been really good about morning pages in my creative recovery, doing my daily brain dump, right? But I've struggled with pens. Okay. I don't have like, my pens keep like running out of ink. So I finally got myself a pen that has a refillable inkwell. And I need to buy myself some pen refills to have on standby, right? Simple little thing that I can do, but that really sets me up for success here. Another thing I can do is I've been really good about my morning pages, but I haven't been great about my artist dates. So again, talking about like we want to spark things with our partner, but like, are we sparking things with ourselves first? Am I taking myself on the dates that I want to go on? Right? How can I find what I want if I'm not even giving it to myself? Like, how can I ask for what I want from my partner when I don't even know what it feels like because I've never experienced it? Right. And so I want to start scheduling in every month a sacred day, which is my artist date day. And I can move it if I need to move it, but it has to happen every month that I am taking myself out on a real artist date to like light myself up from the inside. Ideally, it would happen every week, but it is definitely going to happen every month. Damn it. So these are some examples of ways to like simple like things that we can do. Just taking a moment to put something on a calendar, writing down, a phrase that we can remember for next time, to integrate both what we're celebrating so we can keep doing the things that are working for us and things that we're iterating. So things that are not working as well as we want them to. How can I make it work better for me in the future? So we're going to take a couple minutes. I might need to leave actually, because I got to scoot across the street. In fact, I think what I'm going to do is just have y'all continue this on your own. So are there any questions before we wrap up and y'all go and come up with your integrations?
I have to go too. I have to run.
Yes.
But it was good to see you all, and I'll see you next
Yeah,
time.
it was lovely seeing you too. Have fun.
So just one little thing to integrate for either partnership or
Yeah, so looking at this list of like, okay, here are all the things that are working for me. How can I make sure that I keep this stuff going? Because we have a tendency in our lives to be like, well, that's working, so I'm never going to do that again, which is insane. But it's what we do, right? We're like, that worked, so I don't have to worry about that now. No, you need to keep doing that because it's working for you. So how do we keep those, like, how do we commit to those habits that are working for us? Like every morning I've been pulling a card and it's really working for me. And I want to keep that going. So what, where can I keep my cards? What can I do first thing in the morning that's like, okay, before I pick up my phone, before I do anything else, I walk over and I pull this card, right? Little actions like that. tiny micro shifts to our daily routine that help to support the things that are working for us and shift the things that aren't working as well. And I would love to see your list when you are done. So please feel free to send it to me or post it on your Substack. That would be awesome.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
my darling.
Bye,
Jane, do you have
Jane.
any questions before we wrap up?
I just want to say bye to everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Jane, for coming. It was so lovely to have you. Come again.
I love you guys.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.